Okay, so we can go ahead and get started. Thank you everyone for coming. My name is Alexi. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm a sophomore at Stanford and also the Director of Outreach for Diversify Our Narrative. And we'll just get right into it. So I'll let the panelists introduce themselves.
Hi, everyone. My name is Banaka Norris. I use she, her pronouns. I go to Pasco Hernando State College, and I'll be transferring to Syracuse University in the fall and majoring in advertising. And I am the Executive Director of Marketing here at Dawn.
Hi, everyone. My name is Cami Cornelio. I also use she, her pronouns. I go to the University of Southern California, where I major in intelligence and cyber operations, and I transferred from Pasadena City College.
Hello everyone, my name is Grace Egbe. I use she, her pronouns. I currently go to Santa Monica College, but I am planning to transfer to a four-year university in the fall and major in communications.
Hi everyone, my name is Beatrice. I use she, her pronouns as well. I attend City College of San Francisco. I'm currently a second year there with plans to transfer into a 4-year this upcoming fall to study psychology.
So I'm going to be talking about making the decision to attend community college, but first I'd sort of like to preface it with my personal journey to CEC so that you have sort of a background as to where I'm coming from. So in high school, I was not a high performing student. If anything, I was maybe average, getting mostly B's, 1 or 2 A's, some C's. So to say the very least, I was not ready for college level coursework. So when I got rejected from where I go now, USC, that was like a wake up call for me. I knew I wanted to transfer. I was like, my end all be all, like since I could talk, I wanted to go to USC. So that's what I'm going to do. So after knowing that I was going to transfer, I was faced with the decision of attending a community college or attending a private 4-year university. And I toyed with the decision a lot and I went back and forth a lot, made a lot of pro-con lists, but the biggest thing that was preventing me from attending a community college was the stigma. I mean, I feel like we've pretty much all heard it. It's high school with ashtrays, or it's like for lazy people who like didn't do well in high school. But that could not be less true. However, and I'm really ashamed to admit this, but I was like fully enveloped in the stigma. I was like, there's no way I'm going to a community college. I know that like that's not what's for me. But in the end, I needed to go. So having gone to private school for 12 years and having been surrounded by a lot of people that just were not like, didn't think that community college was a legitimate educational option, I was very much against it. But in the end, I decided that I needed to go to community college for a couple of reasons that I'm going to talk about now. So the first one was that knowing that I was going to transfer, I was really looking at the transfer specific support programs that the community college that I attended offers. So mine actually has a program called Pathways, where it's a set of requirements, a class you have to take every semester, but it gets you ready to transfer. And that's really what I needed. I knew I needed that support to make sure that my end goal of going to USC was going to happen. So I found that support at a community college where I'm not totally sure I would have found that at a 4-year, since more people transfer out of a community college. The motto of my CC was get in, get out, which is pretty much what I did. And I seriously attribute them helping me do that. I don't think without their support that I would have been able to do that as quickly. And the affordability and the low cost of a CEC is another plus. So across the board, I'm pretty sure community colleges are much more affordable than 4-year public or private universities. So that was a major plus for me because I have changed my major twice. And at the time, I wasn't totally set on what I wanted to study. So I got to be able to take a bunch of different classes, explore my interests a little at a much lower cost than I would have done at the private 4-year that I would have attended. So all in all, I feel that I made the right decision because community college offered me the space that I desperately needed to improve as a student while also getting to experience what college level work and college life was like. And I seriously attribute going to PCC with who I am now. I started off as like a very mediocre student when I entered PCC, and now I'm an A student at USC. So the support that I received and having that space to sort of grow and learn in that like sort of monitored space where they help you a lot was really helpful for me. So I think overall it was an extremely formative year for me. And I urge you, if you're considering to attending a community college, be mindful of all the different support programs and the low cost, because you should really use that to your advantage before you transfer, if that's what you're planning on doing. Thank you.
Thank you, Cami, for sharing about your experiences on how you chose to decide whether you wanted to attend community college or not. And with that being said, once you do make the bold yet wonderful decision to choose community college and attend one, the first thing that you really need to consider, of course, is in regards to applying and registering for your classes. So one of the first things that, of course, you have to do is fill out your community college's application and submit it. Personally, for me, I'm in California, and for California community colleges, we have portals that you log on to, and then you select whichever community college campus that you want to apply, and then you select whichever campus that is, fill out their application, submit it online. With everything being very virtual and online right now, it is more convenient to apply through the portals rather than going in person or trying to submit it by mail. Just things like that are just more convenient in general. And another thing that community colleges look for is they look for you to provide a proof of high school graduation or equivalent level completion. So if you completed something like a GED, that looks good as well. As long as they see that you took high school level courses and you completed a high school level education, you're pretty much good to go. It just basically tells the community college that you're ready to take on college level courses and begin that level of education. And another important thing as well is to provide proof of residency or state residency. So I know this can be kind of daunting for some people, especially if you're from the undocumented community. Some states don't really encourage undocumented students to attend higher education. And with that being said, it's still pretty important because there are colleges and certain states that offer their student support. I know here in California, there are just regulations and laws that work to help benefit the undocumented community and just students from first-gen backgrounds, especially to attend community college. And the proof of residency can honestly work in your favor as well in terms of financial aid and just giving you kind of more of a boost in your community college. So I'll give you guys an example. I attend City College of San Francisco right now. We have this program, and I'm very grateful to have this program at my community college called Free City. And essentially what you do is, as long as you prove that you're a resident living in the city of San Francisco, you actually get free tuition at your community college. And so essentially I get paid to attend my community college because the money eventually gets put back to me that I put in to pay for my tuition. So that's something that maybe your community college offers, and I hope that more community colleges will offer in the future as well. And once you do that step, of course, do not forget your FAFSA. So you already know October 1st of every year, that's when FAFSA comes out. And of course, you want to include your community college if you're thinking of attending one on there so that FAFSA can cover or help cover some of the tuition costs. Even though community colleges are generally pretty affordable, more so than a regular four-year university, it's definitely, of course, still good to have that financial aid and support on your side. And another important thing, once you get past that application process and all the financial stuff, is you do want to make a choice to attend a new student orientation. Personally, for me, I found that attending my school's orientation helped me a lot. And most orientations are actually offered online. Even before pre-pandemic, I had my orientation online. It was very quick and easy. Essentially, they gave me information about my community college's campus, what to expect, and also even the basics of transferring and how the different pathways would look like, especially different college requirements and the courses that I might need to take. And they even covered really simple things such as how the unit system works and what a unit means, what 3 units is equivalent to. And that was stuff that I honestly didn't really know much about upon entering community college and starting my college journey. So I found that to be really useful. I highly recommend that you don't skip your school's orientation because I know there are students that opt to. For me, it really helped me to build a stronger foundation so that by the time that I started community college, it helped me to ease into it more. Something that I don't really talk about much, but I think is also really interesting for me personally was I actually started my journey, my first semester of college at a four-year university. And midway through my first year of college, I actually decided to transfer into a community college because of personal reasons, but also just the cost behind it. And so it just also shows the flexibility of applying to a community college, because usually most colleges accept every fall and you have to attend beginning in the fall. But for me, I started in like spring of 2020 and it worked out just fine for me personally. And it was a very smooth transition. So once again, community colleges just have that kind of flexibility that you may not have at a four-year university or another college. And another thing, of course, once you finish your orientation is also to check if your community college requires you to take placement exams. So this is really important. Usually placement exams are for subjects like English and math. You can also just submit probably your test scores or your grades in replacement of this. But I know that for my community college, we personally stopped doing placement exams. So this was about maybe like less than 5 years ago that they stopped doing this. So really just check and make sure. Usually placement exams take place in the spring or summer, and you want to just get those out of the way. They usually probably only take a few hours as well to complete. And after you also do that, then the next thing is you want to meet with an academic advisor counselor. Personally, this part is also really important and really crucial because this is the person that you meet to plan out your semester or even your year. So what classes you might want to take, just even ask them questions about college life and, just basic things about community college that you really need to have in your, just as your foundation for when you're beginning your education there. And personally for me, I have an academic advisor that I go to and we're honestly really close. Like she's really been there for me since I started community college. And, now that I'm transferring, I also still go to her and I go to the same academic advisor. And she's just been really helpful and very supportive in my journey at community college. So it's also good to just build connections and feel like you really belong on campus when you have like a mentor or just someone you can come to that you can depend on, because it's really difficult to navigate community college on your own, of course. So it's always good to have that kind of support and meet with an academic advisor early on. And once you do, then you're pretty much ready to register for classes. Some students opt to register for classes on their own. However, when you are coming from high school and entering community college or college for the first time, it's good to also register classes with your academic advisor or have them help you plan out which classes to take, just so you have more guidance and you feel like you're off to a strong start because you've planned that pathway out. And with that being said, that's pretty much the basics in terms of applying and registering. So I hope that was a bit helpful, but of course, if you have any questions regarding that, we'll definitely answer those towards the end of the panel. And with that being said, I'm gonna pass it on to the wonderful Banaka to talk about academics and just rigor at community college. Thank you.
Okay, so thank you for that wonderful presentation. I know that me and my academic advisor are really tight, so definitely go check that out. As for academics and rigor, I'm going to just speak again to the stigma of community colleges having an inadequate education and being for students with low work ethic. I think that this is a very outdated and really just untrue sort of message to push on students. Community colleges are very rigorous. Their classes are going to be pretty similar to university classes, just with half the cost. So don't expect it to be like an easy slide, like right into community college. There is going to be this next level of work that you will have to put in, just because it is a genuine education. Sorry if my cat makes an appearance. So don't be scared of community college work, but just know that it will be very similar to a university's level work. So your personal classes and course intensity will vary at your respective college, but typically more major specific classes are more rigorous. So what this means is basically your prereqs or like very general education classes like English or some humanities classes are going to be a little bit less intense than major specific classes like accounting or marketing principles. So this sort of lets you have a varying schedule, which is great because you might be coming right out of high school, you might not have gone to college, or you might be coming at a different stage of life going into community college, and having those different levels of rigor is really important. So Another reason this is really great is that it lets you try out different types of classes. So for me, I knew I wanted to major in advertising going into my community college, but a lot of students don't know what they want to major in. So having a variety of different classes allows you to sort of try out what you like. If you want to try photography, you can. If you want to try painting, you can. If you want to try, I don't know, accounting, you can. And the flexibility of community college and those classes is really important. So next is building a rapport with your professors. So this is huge. Your professors at community colleges are basically, again, very similar, low student to professor ratio. So they'll get to know you, get to know your work ethic, and be there as sort of a mentor and a guide, not only for your time at a community college, but a lot of community college professors will keep up with you after you leave. So making those connections now and networking and really building up that relationship will be really beneficial going forward. So you actually have to use the resources provided. And this sounds sort of cliche, but community colleges have a lot of resources, especially tailored to career options and transfer options that you could and should use. They put a lot of work into finding those little hidden, I guess, avenues to landing an internship or landing a job or landing a transfer spot. So definitely take advantage of those options, because those, you won't necessarily get to see those at a university. You will on a bigger scale, but they're not going to be tailored to you. So community college is basically what you make of it. It can be really awesome. Your experience can be great if you put in the effort and really try to build up your relationships with your professors and really put your best foot forward in your classes. But if you don't take advantage of those resources, you might feel a little disheartened. So just remember to always put your best foot forward, no matter what you're doing, what college you're going to, whether it's community or university. Just keep looking ahead.
Thank you, Vinaka, for those really good advice. And piggybacking off of something that you said about how community colleges offer opportunities to explore through classes and through different courses that you have interests in. An important thing to remember is that community colleges can offer the opportunity to explore outside of the classroom as well, in the form of campus life, campus organizations. And it's very important to remember that, you know, whether you're transferring or not, the first or 2 years, the 1 or 2 years that you spend at a community college are still part of your college experience. You know, I feel like a lot of students, when they go to a community college with the intention to transfer out to a four-year university, they tend to focus on that university and just focus on like how campus life will be there, you know. But it's very important to know that community college is still a part of your entire college experience. You know, you should still make the most of it, as Banaka said. You know, you should try to get involved, try to engage with your community. And engaging with your community is not only like a way to connect with others, you know, make friends, make connections. It's also a way that you can hone in on your skills, hone in on your talents and your interests, and really kind of like focus on your career path if you have one in mind already. So for example, you can participate in different clubs, in student government, in community service opportunities, even on on-campus jobs, or if you're more of a creative, you can even participate in performances or student art shows. And me personally, I am a communications major, as I've mentioned before, and I plan to pursue a career in social media strategy and management. So the way that I'm kind of incorporating that into my time at a community college, I am a part of the Black Collegians, which is a culture club on campus, and I am their director of publicity. So, as director of publicity, I am running their social media accounts. I am running, you know, like promotional activities and kind of like advertising for the club, which is what I want to do in the future as my career. So that's also a way that I can develop my skills in that area. And it's also important to remember that community, when you want to transfer to a four-year university, you know, these universities, when they're looking at prospective transfer students, they don't only look at your grades, you know, they don't only look at the academic side of these students, just as like if you were in high school and you wanted to attend a four-year university, it's still the same when you're transfer wanting to attend a four-year university. And so they also look at how the student involves themselves in their communities and engages with others. That's also a very important thing that they really love to see in prospective students and what they really want in transfer students. So my final words of advice, community, or rather college just in general, is a wonderful time to grow and develop personally, academically, in whatever aspect of yourself. So whether you go to a community college or decide to go to a four-year university, just keep in mind to always, I guess, pursue opportunities, you know, and take advantage of opportunities handed to you or available, and really make your time at college, make the most of it. Thank you.
So a big thank you to all of our panelists for being here, and a huge thank you to everyone who attended. The recording of the panel is now going to stop so we could move into the question part of the panel.